So today we are going to talk about hypothesis testing. And remember, we are going to talk only one sample hypothesis testing, which is chapter number 9 in our book. And what is hypothesis testing and how it is used in management and business decisions? So, book is already there, book content is already there. Let me make it very simple that through whiteboard. What is hypothesis? I mean, my pronunciation is not like yours. Hypothesis, the way you pronounce, nothing but any assumption, any issue related to our. How is the audio now, Mike? Cracking really bad. Who is now? I don't know. So give me a minute. How is now? Okay, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, I wanted to make sure this is record. Yeah. So what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is nothing but an assumption that you would like to check statistically. So any assumption, let's say in one sample, there is assumption that average, okay, here we have, so let's say average income of South Hill Spokane household is annual 100,000 USD, dollar 100,000. So this is my assumption, and I guess this or I presume this. Now I want to check it whether my assumption is correct or not. So what would be the first step? The first step for doing this, what I will do, I will go for writing hypothesis. And there is a null hypothesis which is denoted by H0. 0 comes under at the bottom. So here I can't write. H0 equal H0 colon. So null hypothesis means mu. I am just writing u because mu is not there. Mu equal to 100,000. So this is null hypothesis. What is the meaning of this null hypothesis? H0, that null, as you know, null means no difference. What is the meaning of null? Null means no difference, which is zero difference between my assumption and actual. If I collect the data and actual reality. So there is no difference between this. Then I have to write alternative hypothesis, which is denoted by H1 or HA. So either way, different authors denote by different ways. So I'm just using both HA or H1. U, which is mu, not equal to, and I can't put, not equal sign here using my keyboard. So I can put not equal to 100,000. So this is first statement. Sorry. So I want to check average income of South Hill Spokane household is 100,000. That this is this. This is alternative. Now third step in hypothesis testing comes at what level of confidence I would like to check. what is the significance level? So here we check, as you know, confidence level is 1 minus confidence level is significance level. So decision rule is at, let's say, 95% confidence or 5% significance level, or alpha. Normally significance level is known as alpha, equal to 0.05, which is 5%. Okay. Now the fourth step is how I can decide. I don't have data, so I go and collect data from South Hill, Spokane area household. Let's say I collected, let's say, 100 household, and then since I don't know the standard deviation, I calculate t-test statistics, and then I will make my decision whether my assumption is correct. So whether, H0 or null hypothesis is accepted or rejected. So if H0 is accepted, then my assumption is correct. If H0 is rejected, my assumption is wrong. So this is the process of hypothesis testing in simple way. Similarly, if you want to see, suppose you want to see the professor's salary in United States or whatever, or in your field of area, you can check. So this is the very simple process in order to check the hypothesis. Now I'm going over slides. Yeah, and now based on, since I'm talking, this is mean, there are three ways of testing hypothesis. One is mean again based on two steps, z-test, when you have population standard deviation known, node. Okay. T-test, the population sigma is unknown. Okay, so this is related to mean in two situations, known sigma or unknown sigma. The second about proportion, exactly the same way like we did in the confidence interval. Here we are going to use exactly same options. We are just going to include one more hypothetical value. So proportion. So we use one sample proportion. The third is based on variance or standard deviation. What do we do here? One variance, one sample variance, which we learn chi-square. So variance or standard, we know, if we know variance, we can do the standard deviation or vice versa. So based on mean, proportion, or standard deviation, we can do hypothesis testing. And this is what we are going to learn in this chapter. So let me go through a couple of slides. I hope you can see my slides. Get an idea, formulate hypothesis, gather data, find test statistics, make decision, and revise your idea. So basically, this is the process. This is the cycle of hypothesis testing. So these are the steps in order to test the hypothesis. State the hypothesis to be tested, specify what level of consistency, like 5%, 10%, which is called decision rule. Collect the data, calculate necessary statistics, make decision, and take action. Like I just said about the household income of in South Hill in Spokane. So exactly the same, these are the 5 steps. Fifth steps. So null hypothesis alternative here, they are denoting by H1. So this is the type 1 error or type 2 error. So this is very important from theoretical point of view. Practical interpretation I will explain at the end of the class. I mean, in the last moment of the class. Reason is that how we can check what is the type 1 or type 2 error. This is also type 1 error is also called alpha error. Type 2 error is called beta error. H0 is true and even you reject H0, which is called type 1 error. H0 is false and even you accept that H0 or fail to reject H0, that is called beta error or type 2 error. So I will explain at the end. So let's start with some numerical here. Yeah, again, one more thing, this is right tail test, left tail test, and equal two tail test. These are very important to be understood before we proceed further. What is left tail test? What is right tail test? What is two tail test? So basically, two tail test is equal sign and unequal sign. Null hypothesis is equal, mu is equal to mu 0, mu not equal to mu 0. So this is the situation. Here left tail test.
We cannot see your screen.
You can't hear?
We're just seeing your whiteboard.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Thank you for okay, 1 minute. How about now?
Better.
Yes, we can see it now.
Please, always interrupt me because I don't know. When I start teaching, I just focus on that and I forget about things. Anyway, so first step is get an idea, formulate hypothesis, gather data, find test statistics, make decision, and revise your idea. like I did with household income, state the hypothesis to be tested very first. Like I said, the 100,000 income of household in South Hill. Then specify the level of inconsistency, basically 5%, 10%, or 95% confidence or 99% confidence. So that level, then collect the data, which I said, you just go and collect 200 household data, then make decisions. And here, whether you are going to accept or reject hypothesis and take the action based on that. Here, type 1 and type 2 error, these are the important aspect in hypothesis testing. If null hypothesis is true and you reject null hypothesis, that is called alpha error or it is called type 1 error. If H0 is false, then you also accept the null hypothesis, that is called beta error or type 2 error. So these two errors I will explain with an example. Okay, so this is, yeah, now left tail test, right tail test, and two tail test. These are the three things which we have to keep in mind, because this is the only important aspect when you plug into Minitab, that you need to choose which option is correct, and then nothing special you have to do. For example, left tail test, here null hypothesis is mu is greater than mu 0. Alternative test is mu is less than mu 0. Two-tailed test is equal sign. Here, right-tailed test exactly opposite. So this is, and how do we apply? We are going to look into this. So here, this is two-tailed test, for example. Here, let's say if you are talking about 90% confidence interval or 10% significance level. So what happened in this case? 5% is here, like we already learned, 5% is here. That means we have this 90% acceptance region. If our value comes in this region, we accept null hypothesis. Similarly, this is called left tail test because this is left. And here 10%, this is all 10%. So this is 10%, rest is 90% in this case. So here we don't reject, but here we reject. So this is left tail test because this is left side. Similarly, this is right tail test because this side we have 10%, let's say, and 90% here. We don't reject in this region, but we reject in this region. Okay, so we'll talk about type 1 error and type 2 error. I'm not going to focus on this, but we'll talk about later how this can be important in order to make decision, how you can make the error in hypothesis testing. So these are the typical values. We can also calculate these values using using our Minitab. Let me go through. I have created one Word document for some of the students are interested to get to know how do we go on with few slides. So I created a Word document in order to explain the process, because only less than 20-25% of students can attend the online, and they don't have time to play entire 1 hour or more than 1 hour. So look into the very first question here. A company, I hope you can see my, okay now. Okay. A company produces paper for laser printers. Standard paper width is 216 mm or 8.5 inches. Suppose that actual width is a random variable that is normally distributed with known standard deviation. So here, known standard deviation means population standard deviation is given based on manufacturing technology currently in use.
Looks like we're still on the PowerPoint.
Oh, just a minute. Thank you. How about, can you see my screen?
Yes, the Hammer Mill Company is showing.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, so this is, for example, standard paper width is 216 mm. Suppose that actual width is random variable that is normally distributed with known standard deviation is this much. Variation arise during manufacturing because of slight difference in paper stock, vibration in the rollers and cutting tools, and wear and tear on the equipment. The cutters can be adjusted if the paper width drifts from the correct mean. Suppose that quality control inspect 50 sheets at random and measure them with the precise instrument. Obtaining a mean width is 216.007 millimeter. Using 5% level of significance, does the sample show that product mean exceed the specification? So we are going to check this part, whether does the sample 50 seed sample shows that mean exceed the specification. Okay, so very simple. Let me draw some. So this is the normal distribution, and 5% level, this is 5%. It exceeds, so up to there is 216, means this is the level, it goes here or it doesn't go here. Okay, so basically this is not equal case. Now look into this. So null hypothesis says mu is less than or equal to 216 mm. Alternative says mu is greater than 216 mm. And so look into that. I'm just using Minitab directly. Now, I hope you can see my Minitab. Statistics, basic statistics, one sample Z. Why am I using this? Because we have standard deviation given of, and we have a summarized data right here. So what is the sample size? It is 50 seats. Sample mean is 216.007, if I am correct. Where is that? Yeah, 216.007. What is the standard deviation? 0.023. 0.0230. This is stand. Perform hypothesis testing. We are going to check hypothesis testing. What is the standard? 216. So basically this is going to be used in quality control. This is the example of quality control. How do we maintain the quality in production? Now it is asking 95% confidence. Here is the catch. Can you see? This is not null hypothesis. This is an option of alternative hypothesis. So null hypothesis is less than, but alternative hypothesis says mean is greater than hypothesized mean. So look into, I hope, where is my, so what is alternative hypothesis? Mu is greater than, so we are always inserting in our Minitab alternative hypothesis. We are not using, and here students make mistake. They use this because, you know, a null is most important and they always, however, Minitab uses this one. So I'm just using this one and it is 95%. Okay. Perform hypothesis test. Now here we look. What is the value? Z value is 2.15 and P value is 0.016. Here the concept of decision rules has come. How? Let's look into the T distribution. Basic statistics graph, probability distribution, and it is 50 sample, I believe. 50 seats, yes. So here I go with T. Degree of freedom. What is the degree of freedom we have? 49. Degree of freedom is, because we have 50 samples, so 1 minus 50 is 49. Shaded area, what we need this value right here with 5% probability. What is the value? Critical value here you can see 1.67. What is the value we are getting here? 1.67. And our calculated value is coming. Oh, sorry, we have to do not T value, we have to do Z because we are doing Z distribution. So again, please, sorry. This is normal distribution. Where is normal? Right here. And this is the normal. Again, this is, okay, once. So And as you know, after the 30 means if the sample size is more than 30, Z and T becomes almost same. They are almost same. So 1.645 is the critical value right here on 5%. So this is the reject. Any value above 6.45, 1.645 is rejected. So look into this. What value we got here? We get 2.15. So this is the value is coming 2.15 would be somewhere after this, somewhere let's say here. And the p-value, so this is the decision rule, H0 null hypothesis is rejected. And then alternative hypothesis, what is the alternative hypothesis says? It is coming higher than 216. Width is coming more than 216 mm. So, oh, see. So it is coming more than. So this is one decision criteria based on critical value. There's another which is called p-value. If p-value is less than significance level. So here you need to know the critical value. Here you can blindly go. If p-value is less than alpha, alpha is significance level. So p-value is 1.6% here. And what is the alpha is 5%. Then you reject null hypothesis. Then you reject null hypothesis. If p-value is greater than alpha, then you accept null hypothesis. This is another principle. So based on p-value, why this is? Let me show against this. Why this is so important. Look into this. This is saying this value is corresponding value is coming on to 1.6%, where we are asking. So let me do it reverse. So here we go. 2.15 is the value. Stat probability distribution. Okay. And here let me put the what is the corresponding value here. X value is 2.15 right here. What is the value is coming again 1 point, roughly 1.578%, roughly 1.6%. So basically try to understand this concept. Actually it is, we are asking 1.645. This is the value here. We want this to be in this region, but automatically it should be in this region, which is 95%. It should be in 95%. What it is coming in how much percent? Which is 98.4%. Means it is required more confidence level. So we were doing more with more precision here. This is coming in less precision. Therefore, it is rejected. We want in this region, but this is coming in this region. So even based on p-value, you can accept or reject null hypothesis. Now, if it is clear to everyone, now hypothesis testing is very simple to. So let me know if you If this is clear to everyone. So here you can see this is, I put these values right here. And here you can see so this is p-value is 1.6%. Make the decision that test statistics fall in the right rejection region. So we reject null hypothesis and conclude the alternative hypothesis at 5% level of significance. So action, now that we have concluded that process is producing paper with an average width greater than specification. So in quality control, if suppose somebody is, the Apple is manufacturing or assembling iPhone, and the average weight, standard weight of iPhone is 177 gram, and they would like to check the quality, whether this is coming with a specification 177 gram, and they take a sample, 100 sample randomly from assembly line, and they weigh, and they come to know, okay, we have decided the standard 177 gram, but iPhone weight is more than 177 gram or less than 177 gram. So if less than, you need to take action. If more than, you need to reduce, improve the quality. I mean, in both ways, the quality has to be kept standard. The standard has to be kept intact. So this is very first question, that based on p value, based on critical value, you can check the. Now look into the second example. So in addition to its core business of bagels and coffee, bagels also sell hot chocolates for non-coffee crowd. Customer research shows that an ideal temperature for hot chocolate is 142 degree Fahrenheit. A random sample of 24 cups hot chocolate is taken at various times, and temperature of each cup is measured here. That is accurate to nearest whole degree. So which is the sample mean means this sample mean is 141.37. With the standard deviation is this, at alpha is 10. Does the sample evidence shows that true mean differs from 142? So basically now the question is here, sample size I put 24, sample mean 141, standard deviation I think 199. Yeah, 1995. Hypothesized mean is this. And because we are checking, does it differ from the standard 142? Therefore, we are just using mean is not equal to hypothesized mean. Now, confidence 90%. When we do this, can you see my screen? So,
Yes, we can see it.
so do you want me to go on Minitab, because it gives clear information here? So T value is minus 1.53 and the P value is 13.9%. And we are checking at 90% confidence. Now, what is your decision based on this? What do you think? It is accepted, rejected? So accepted. What is accepted? The null hypothesis is accepted. Exactly. So how do you interpret this from managerial decision point of view? Can you say why? Okay, so basically the p-value is greater than 10%. And the same time, look into the t-value. So let me go on Minitab and do this exercise for you. So what is the degree of freedom here? Sample size is 24. Okay, let me go with Minitab. Here we are going to check graph probability distribution. Minitab, okay. And we are looking the t distribution right here. Degree of freedom 24 minus 1, which is 23. Shaded area, we need probability 10%. But we need this area because we need 5% on right side, 5% on left side. And now we got the values. What is the value? So, so this is anything less than minus 1.714, anything above 1.74. If we get, what is the value we are getting? We are in this region, it is accepted. So we are getting minus 1.54, I think, if I'm correct. So we are getting this percent. So this is asking at 90%. What is asking? At 90%. But it is at what percent this hypothesis is accepted? So basically at 90%, let me do one more exercise in order to probability distribution here. And let me go with this t and degree of freedom, say x value minus 1.54. So how much? 6860. So this side is 6860. And here you also see, if this is 1.54, this is also 1.4, let's say, this is also minus 0.6860. How much is going to be this value? 6860 means approximately 13.6% approximately, if I do this. So let me do with one more graph probability distribution. Here I think we get directly in. So 13.9%. So let me do exactly 13.9%. So graph probability distribution, and let me do this 23, and I need to put probability, which is 13.9%, 0.139, and probability I need this one. So look into that. What we are getting, I mean, I'm just, little bit here. So we are checking this at 90% confidence level. However, this hypothesis is, p-value is higher than 10, which means it is coming in less confidence. It is more precise. So basically it is giving us approximately, I would say, we are getting this done on 86% approximately, or roughly you can say 86.5. So is it clear why we use p-value, why we use z-value, why we use p-value and critical value? So using both ways, you can accept and reject null hypothesis. If you reject null hypothesis, then automatically you are going to accept that alternative hypothesis. So, excuse me. So basically this is, since the test statistics lies within range of chance variation, we cannot reject the null hypothesis, which is 142. Therefore, what we can say in terms of managerial aspect, does the sample evidence shows that true mean differ? No, it does not differ from true mean 142 degree Fahrenheit. Means all are there's no difference between the true mean of temperature and the sample cup temperature. Now look into the third option, third hypothesis testing. A hospital is comparing its performance against an industry benchmark that no more than 50% of normal births should result in hospital stay exceeding 2 days, 42 hours, 31 birth. So 31 birth in a sample of 50 normal births had a length of stay greater than 48 hours at alpha 2.5%, only 2.5%. Does this sample prove that hospital exceed the benchmark? So what is the benchmark for hospital? 2 days. So this is basically a right tail test. Look into that. What we did, number of events. So I use one sample proportion because this is based on binomial or proportion. Number of events, 31. Number of trials, 50 perform. So hypothesized proportion is 50%. Here you can see 50% of normal birth. Okay. Now I put here alternative. I put this value, and what I put confidence interval I put 97.5 because it is asking only 2.5% significance level. Z value is 1.7, P value is 1.045. What do you say? What is your decision? Exactly. The test statistics doesn't fall in right rejection region. So we cannot reject hypothesis because you can see the P value is 4.5%, where the sigma alpha is 2.5%. So this is 2.5% P value is greater than. So you can say, so hospital appears complaint with a benchmark, so no action is required at this time. So hospital is up. Yes, this is exactly, Jacob, one proportion test, exactly the same thing we have done here. Look into this. I use one sample proportion. So this is one sample proportion, exactly for proportion like in last chapter we did. We use exactly last chapter, but we did not put this option, and we did not put also, yeah, one proportion. Binomial is also, exactly the, this is, so binomial and proportion is same. So for example, here the sample P value is 62%. So basically this is same. Okay, the last question related. So this is based on the historical statistics shows that the standard deviation of attach, exactly, because Chris said exactly right, because binary choices means you have yes or no, correct or not correct means you have. So proportion is based on that only. Correct, Chris? So the next question is, here you can say historical statistics shows that standard deviation of attachment times for an instrument panel is an automotive assembly line, sigma is 7 seconds. Observation of 20 randomly chosen attachment times are shown in table, which is there with alpha 5%. Does the variance in attachment times differ from historical variance, which is right here? So sigma is 7. Then you can find the variance, which is 7 multiplied by 7, which is 49. And these are the observations, 20 observations. Now what we need to do, sample size, so this is one sample variance test. Here sample size is 12, sample standard deviation is 7.44. So if you if you use this, either you can use sample standard deviation or you have sample standard or variance, either you can use and you can get. So here sample standard deviation is this, hypothesized standard deviation is 7, and again the option is 95%, equal, not equal, and you get this value here. Now what is your interpretation? Here is the value. What is your interpretation? Except null. So look into this. Test statistics is coming 21.49. 95% confidence. Let me go on Minitab and graph probability distribution. Okay, I need chi-square here. Chi-square. What is the degree of freedom? I think 19 because 20 sample size. Shaded area, we need 5% probability here. 0.05. We need this case. So what is the range? What is the critical value? 8.907 to 32.85. And what we are getting in our 21.49. 21.49 is within the range, and the p-value is also more than 5%, which is 62%. So because of the test statistics within the middle range, we conclude that population variance does not differ significantly from 49. That is, the assembly process variation is unchanged. So this is about, I wanted to talk about chapter number 9. So is this clear to everyone? Now, would you like to do, now let's do some example right here for your, so this is our book example right here, 9.37. Here we have the question which is in terms of data. So let me pull the data. I have data. So this, we used all summarized data, and let me use the download. I think, okay, here we have the pen data right here. Now let's read the question. Where is the question? Okay. The manufacturer of Glow More Flat White Interior Latex Paint claims one coat average is 400 square feet per gallon on interior walls. So this is a standard 400. I mean, he is claiming, but we would like to check his claim is correct or not. A painter keeps carefully tracks 6 gallons and find coverage in square feet of 360 in first gallon, 360, second 410, 380, and so on. at alpha 10, does this evidence contradict the claim? So look into that. I have the data right here, and let's look into this. What level we are going to check? So 6, and we have at what percent level? 10%. Okay. So here, calculate which test we are going to use here. Which test we are going to use here? You are going to tell me which test am I going to use?
T distribution.
Exactly, because it doesn't have it doesn't have population standard deviation. Okay, right here. Now, do we use summarized data? No, because I have the data in this. So, so I use square fit. Okay. Perform hypothesis testing. What it says, what is the value he is claiming? 400, I think. Yes. Now, option at what level? It is asking 90%, I believe, if I check it. Yes, 90%, because 10% significance level. And let's go here. Now this question comes. What do you say? Is it this, this, or this? Which option? This has to be alternative hypothesis.
Not equal.
And not equal says, it is not close to 400. But he is claiming it gives 400 or more. So alternative is this. Because we are checking it is, it is claiming it gives 400, more than 400 square feet, I think, per gallon. Now let me do it. Now your conclusion. Yes, exactly. You are correct. We are going to reject. Why? Two simple cases, too simple. So number one, p-value is less than 5.3%. Please bear with my handwriting because I'm using. This is one. And now look into the other case, which is 90% upper bound. So we are checking with 90%, and let's see what is the value for 90%. So what is the critical value? So I go on graph, I go on probability distribution. So this is a T distribution. I'm going to use this, and I need to use T. See, I'm just showing you so that you can understand well, but you can make decision right here. And degree of freedom, we have 6 samples, so degree of freedom is 5. Shaded area, we need 10%. Which one we need? We need this option because we are checking this. What is the value? Minus 1.476. What is the value we are getting here? 1.98. So our calculated value is falling somewhere here. Minus 1.98 is going into red zone. I think 98. Is it? Therefore, we are rejecting this. Is it clear? Now, one more question, and then I will leave you. So, in 2008, a small dealership leased 21 Subaru Outbacks on 2-year lease. when the cars were returned in 2010, the mileage was recorded in the, is the dealer mean significance greater than the national average of 30,000? So the across the country, normally a 2 years driven miles is 30,000 miles. And this dealership has given, leased 21 Subarus. And when he got returned, these are the miles recorded, 2-year lease using the, so we are going to check, is dealership mean significantly greater than national average or not? So let me check if I have the data right here of mileage, because I downloaded. So then we are going to calculate this. Example exercise I don't have. So what do I do? No. Just give me a minute so I can download. Or just let me download. So give me a minute so that you can better understand. Because I downloaded, I don't know where it gone. Just a minute. Now, so I have mileage database. And so can you see my screen? Okay, thank you. So let me go on question again here. Which test we are going to use in this question? It's z-test, t-test, what test we are going to use? If you can see my screen, you can suggest me, I can follow you. Exactly, t-test. So let me go ahead, I grab statistics basic 1t. Now here instead of that, I just choose mileage option. We are going to use 30,000 as a benchmark based on national average. We don't have a standard deviation of the population. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Now, what do we do here? Option 10%. significance level. Now tell me, what is do I need to choose out of 3? Which option do I need to choose? Exactly. The reason, because national, we are checking whether the dealership has up to 30,000 or less than, and alternative is more than 30,000. So right here, and we are done. Now your judgment. Greater than. So basically, what it says, reject null hypothesis. Null hypothesis says we have less than 30,000, where we are getting for this data, the dealership rented 2 years Subaru has more than 30,000 miles on their meter. And reason is this. Because 10%, so 90% lower bound is 30,000. 30,500, which is greater than 30. So would reject based on exact. Now I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to explain alpha error or meter error. Okay, if suppose this case is not the case, first case could be, now first case could be like alpha, where alpha is, what is alpha is significance level. So here is 10%. Now suppose alpha is, I selected 5%. Then this hypothesis can be, I'm just going to do again same thing. Here, I'm just doing 95. Look into this. Can you see this? Is now the conclusion. Now accept it. So this could be choosing the wrong alpha value. This error can be possible. The same hypothesis is accepted in 95%. Even it would be accepted at 93% also. Sorry, at also 7%. But this is not. So basically, if you change the alpha value, this is called alpha error due to wrong selection of the alpha value. So this is called type 1 error. So if suppose you choose here, again I'm going to do it. So here I just do like 93%. Even in this case, this is accepted. Basically, it is getting accepted at 93%, but it is not accepting in 90%. So basically, this could be a reason of wrong selection of. The hypothesis is correct, but because of alpha level, it is getting rejected. This is called type 1 error. What is the type 2 error? Would be like this. Basic statistics. I go and explain to you here. Like, I'm getting back again. So, do you just a minute? A good way to know. Actually, this is ambiguous part. We can. This is a lengthy statistics. I don't want you to go in that, Chris, because in the book, if you have a book, in the book, this is called power. In the same chapter, I forget the heading, and the complete explanation is there, which, to be honest, you can just do it trial and error. So basically we check, manager makes, okay, let me check on 95% confidence interval, but that is or 90%, and on 93% it is perfectly fine. So this is the error of decision rule, whether how you are choosing a decision rule. Only 1% here and there, your hypothesis can be accepted. Your hypothesis is true, but it is rejecting. And the second thing is that, so this is the number one case. Number two case, let me do the same option. Here I just choose 90% as per our. Now here, instead of this, I go here and I put like 31,000. Okay, 31,000. And now if I put the 31,000 or 30,600, our this hypothesis is getting accepted. Is it? So this is based on if your the true population, or if your benchmark value is little bit here and there, by which even wrong hypothesis is getting accepted, that is called beta error. So let me go back on the concept part. So this is basically type 1 error. H10 is true, reject H0. So this is type 1 error, or called alpha error, and H0 is false, fail to, this is called type 2 error. So based on alpha and beta, we have a option which is called power option in the chapter. So basically, you can just think about this. So I mean, practically this is, but theoretically, if we go, we have to, let me show you how I show you. This is, because there's a lot of statistics in that, and I go on this ebook, and power curves, and this is called power curves. So look into this here. Do you want to understand? I can post this also to you. This is the, but it is totally based on the assumption. So it has a lot of things. So this is basically a relationship, how alpha and beta can be calculated, and how you can check you have type 1 error, type 2 error. So basically this is there right in the book. So this is about this chapter. Do you have any question, any comment related to this chapter? Please let me know. If you come up and wait for a quiz, I'm going to post the solution of the quiz of chapter number 9 maybe by tomorrow, because this is the last week of regular classes. So grading and a lot of things are there. Any question?